Yes people, welcome back to YouTube. Today's going to be a little bit of a different style video. It's going to be walking through something that is super important when it comes to building muscle and when you go to the gym. And that is volume and frequency to grow muscle. Ignore the bad bicep drawing, okay, but you get the gist. So we're going to be talking about how volume and frequency pair together in order to help you build muscle and how you can set up your training split in order to do so. Now, first of all, let's talk about what each one is. Now, volume is how much you have or how much you do of something. So, for example, how many sets or reps you do per session. Frequency is how often you do something. So, how many times a week do you train your biceps, or how much times a week do you do cardio, etc. You get the gist. Now, let me give you an example of how volume and frequency can be misread and misused during training / building your training program. So, for example, if you have a weak muscle group, let's say for example your back, and you train it once a week, okay, but you do 18 to 20 sets in one session, okay. Now we're going to talk about why that is a bad thing. Now, straight away when you hear 20 sets in one session for one muscle group, you've got to be thinking about your recovery time. You've got to be thinking about how ruined your body is going to be the next day and how recovery is going to be impacted. What can we do to fix this, and how can we add in frequency to make sure we're not being battered each week and we're not leading to poor recovery between sessions? Because trust me, if you have one session of back and you do 20 sets, then the next day you try and do a push workout, that is probably going to hinder your push workout, even though it's two different muscle groups, because you'll be so fatigued from doing that one day, okay, because there's way too much volume in one session that you probably won't be able to give your all into your next session. So let's look at how we can add in frequency with volume, okay, and across a week period to make sure we can recover, to make sure we grow the most muscle we can, and making sure you have a good split to make sure you're bringing up those weaker areas of your physique. So let's talk about why this split would be ideal, okay, for growing your back. Now, when we hit a session, okay, let's say we did posterior, but we do that 18 to 20 sets, okay, and we're only training back once per week. That 18 to 20 sets is, all sets are not going to be equal in that session, okay? You may start the session really, really good, but then towards the final few sets, your quality is going to dip, okay? Because trust me, if you did 18 to 20 sets, okay, to failure, you would be fucked, okay? And I'm putting that in a way that I want you to understand that that is not sustainable and it's not a good way to grow. So what I would do instead is have a posterior session and a pull session, so you can split that volume across the week. Now, what is that going to enable? You're going to enable so much more better quality sets, okay, per week for your back. And if the sets are not good, okay, because you're doing too many, then your muscles are not going to grow. You're not hitting that back with quality, okay, you're just hitting it with quantity with the total amount of sets per day, okay? So I've done this split so you have a good enough rest time in between sessions, okay? You have 2 solid days, okay, where you're not training back, okay? Now, what would I do in terms of splitting the load, okay? So let's say on your posterior day, I would do 2 hamstring movements maybe, 1 calf movement, and then probably 4 exercises for your back primarily, okay, 4, and then maybe 2 bicep exercises. Now, what would I do? I would have 2 to 3 sets, okay, per exercise, maybe 3 to 4 on some, okay, but let's say 2 for an example, okay, and you have 4 exercises. That is 8, okay, total sets, okay, that you're going to do. So 2 sets, okay, 4 exercises is 8 total sets, okay, instead of 18 to 20 in one session, okay. So 8 total sets, and then on your pull day on Friday, you may have a little bit more volume, okay. Let's say you're doing 3 sets as a minimum, okay. That's still across 4 exercises. that is still 4, 8, 12, okay, 12 sets, okay, on that day, and then that's 12 sets, add the 8 sets, and that's 20 sets, but over a course of a week, okay? We're not just taking one session and doing 20 sets in that one session, okay? Not gonna work, okay, and it's not gonna be effective for recovery time. So this is why I program, and I have programmed this for you guys, okay? If you have and are needing a better back, okay? If your back is a lacking area, then definitely apply this. Again, it can be applied with everything, your legs, your chest, your shoulders, etc. Okay, but splitting it like this is going to be so much better because you can then hit more volume but across the week instead of just one session. But let's talk, how does it improve muscle growth and recovery? Now, it improves muscle growth because remember guys, we do not grow muscle when we are inside the gym, okay? We are providing our bodies with, and our muscles with, that stimulus inside the gym, okay? The only way we grow is whether we recover, okay? We recover by eating good nutrition. We recover by taking your sleep seriously. I cannot recommend it enough. And hydration, okay? And obviously recovery tools. But yeah, that is not how you grow, okay? By just going inside the gym and pulling some weights, okay? Or you get the gist, okay? If you're not recovering, you're not growing. It's as simple as that. So if this has been helpful, please drop a like, drop a comment, okay? And also hit the subscribe button, okay? And check out my socials, that will be in the link in the description. Thank you for watching, people. Peace.